Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Gospel of John, chapter 9, verses 18 through 41. And this whole passage is about who can really see. Now, the Pharisees, the legalistic bean counters, they don't believe the man born blind. And so they call his parents and they ask him, is this your son? Is this your blind son? And how does he come to see? And the parents respond, we know he's our son. We know he's our blind son, but how he came to see, well, we don't know. And I think about how so often we're not sure how God did something. We may not understand the how. Does that matter? What matters is the who. Who did it? And for whom? And Jesus healed the blind man. And so these parents, they don't protect their son, but rather abandon him. They're afraid to acknowledge Jesus, and so they don't really acknowledge their son. The Pharisees go back, the legalistic bean counters go back to the man born blind, give glory to God, tell the truth. And then they tell a lie. We know this man is a sinner. How do you know this man is a sinner? You don't. You are making a judgment against him, right? And the blind man says, I don't know whether he's a sinner or not, but here's something I do know. I was blind, now I see. God has done something. And then he goes on later to say, we know that God doesn't listen to sinners, right? And God listened to this man. And so, who is this man? And they say, who are you to challenge us? And then he says, I've already told you, you won't listen. I've already told you, and you will not see what's right in front of your face. What? Do you want to become his disciples too? And they lose their minds. You can just see they're so mad that when they talk, they're spitting on the blind man. And I want you to think about how, the world doesn't believe the preaching of the gospel. The world doesn't believe the work of the church. The world will not believe that Jesus Christ heals and redeems. And so that question, do you want to become his disciples too? The world, loses its mind. It is aghast that you would even suggest that the world should submit to Christ, and it rejects it. And it looks down upon Jesus' disciples. Now again, verse 30, the man born blind says, it's remarkable. We know God doesn't listen to sinners, and nobody's ever opened the eyes of the blind before, and yet you can't see who has done this, that this is from God. And again, they curse him and say, well, you're just steeped in sin. You're horrible. And they judge him. Jesus comes to him now and says, do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he? Tell me so I can believe. I'm the one talking to you. And then the man says, I believe. And then comes this amazing statement. Jesus says, I've come into the world to judge the world. We do know that that Jesus came into the world to save it. But in order to save it, he also comes to judge it. And those who think they see really don't see. And those who think they're blind, Jesus gives sight. And that's when we come to see who Jesus is, then our eyes are opened to the truth and our eyes are opened to God. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.